Welcome reading two. Ooh, I'm really excited to jump in here because you guys had some really cool energy starting out and they had me start dark. And so I'm excited. Okay, so let's see what you got. Ooh, interesting. So it was upside down. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. So this is the south node. I'm going to bring this in just a little bit closer just because I want you guys to see it. I just don't want to burn the card. Don't let your past hold you back. Don't let your past hold you back. So what they're saying is your mission, should you choose to accept it, I'm going to go back down. They really are like wanting to stay more like in the dark. Is it says, don't let your past hold you back, south node. But there's the south node and the north node, and they want you to work with the south node and the north node. Okay, now that is your mission, should you choose to accept it. They're saying it like that because they are very different, and they both like are vital. And also for those of you who are even willing to go further, maybe some of you have wanted to get into astrology, this is your huge green light. And I feel like too, because like this color, like if I took this down a little bit, I want to see if I can, I think they're going to have me put a filter on this, so maybe it'll show it then. But anyway, this is really green in here, but it's, the lighting's kind of wonky in here today. So green also represents the heart chakra. So I feel like you guys, like what's missing in your heart is your north and your south node, like they're out of balance. And I feel like something from your past is like stopping you. Also remember that sometimes we have an incident that will happen in our lives that's like so traumatic or so messed up that we don't even realize like how much it's affecting us. And I feel like for you guys, like also this right here, like, do you see this? Like it almost looks like an animal up here in the wood, in the tree, piece of the tree that I put in there. And then they also had me bring in this one. And so I feel like we have a lot of scryers. We have so many scryers in our tribe. So this awesome little piece of wood, sometimes when I'm hiking, wherever I'm hiking, I go all over, but Spirit will have me pick things up and I'll work with them. It's really interesting too, like when I read for people in person and they'll have me bring things, and it's always fun to see, like when I used to work at Psychic Sister, I used to bring a shitload of stuff, from oils, crystals, stones, you name it, pieces of this, you know what I mean? And whatever they went to first is always kind of what I could tell, like what they were working with or trying to heal, so to speak. And so I feel like for you guys, scrying helps you too, whether it's in clouds. I don't care if it's in the foam in your latte. You know, you're just that person, you see beyond things. And so I feel like why you're not letting go of your past, and this is, you know, right now we're working with the waxing gibbous energy, the fourth quarter moon, and this is refine and focus. And they're saying the reason why you're not being able to focus on what you want to do, and you're not refining, like, or like some of these things that aren't coming to fruition, your dreams, your hopes, your manifestations, it's because you're allowing fear from your past to hold you back. And they want you to really look at it. And if some of you were drawn to reading one, I highly recommend you go and look at it, because there was something that happened, transpired in there that was really magical that I'm not going to replicate here because it was really awesome. There was a lot of great moments in that reading. So if you're drawn to it, go check it out. If you're not, it's okay. But there were some pearls of wisdom around that topic. But researching your north and south node on cafeastrology.com. Now that's the one I go to, or .org. That's the one I've used. I've never used other ones, so that's just the one I use. You can research anything you want to. You can just put in free astrology report. It's really awesome if you know the exact time of your birth. People think that doesn't make a difference, but it really does. Because, you know, just like that 1 second, like I was born at 7:02 a.m. But if I was born at 7:03, that would change my whole life path number. That would change, you know what I mean? It's stuff like that. So maybe you're somebody who's been interested in things like that, or looking at, like, I forget the name of it, but it's like the map of your soul kind of thing. There's so many different things that you can look up. And if you're interested in that, I actually have a friend, Jules, she's part of our tribe. She does something like that. I don't remember the name of it, but I know she does things like that where she can help you like map out like your whole life and your whole history. And she's really fair on her pricing too. So if you're interested in that, you can reach out to me. You can email magicalmedium@gmail.com. Know the just magical medium, how it's spelled, magicalmedium at gmail.com. And also, if you want to work with me, like in terms of like your path, like work like that, or your ancestral stuff, like the spirit stuff, I can do that. She could do that too. But I don't know if she does them together. She does a lot of different things. She's a master Reiki. She's amazing. But I would, if you're interested in that kind of stuff, I highly recommend you hit up Jules. Um, yeah. Anyway, so that kind of stuff is really powerful. Knowing that, like knowing like, and you can actually add up your life path number by your birthday and like when you were born. So for instance, I was born on December 13th, 1971 at 7:02 a.m. And when you add up all those numbers and you come down to the lowest denominator, it's was right, or the lowest, prime number or whatever you call it, where you can't divide it. And so mine's 7. So I'm a life path 7. And it's good to know those kind of things, to get to know your soul a little bit more. It's really just, it's almost like the breadcrumbs back to yourself, back to your soul. And some of us get it through astrology. Some of us get it through like what I do, like through mediumship. Sometimes I'll be like, but I want to research that more. And Spirit will be like, you don't really need to. Like you're on the right track. Like you know who you are, or you know that part of yourself. And then other times they'll be like, no, research these numbers or look up this, or So it's different for everybody. But yeah, I feel like for you guys too, like I'm feeling like numerology, or like you like numbers, or maybe you don't like numbers, which is interesting, because find out why you don't like numbers. I used to I loved math until I got to algebra, until numbers turned to letters, and I was just like completely lost, and I didn't understand it, and I was very upset. And my teachers, thought they didn't know what I had. It was like the 70s and the early 80s. They didn't really know what was going on with me at the time. Now they would probably say I'm dyslexic, but I actually worked with, when I went back to college in my 30s, my math professor was also a tutor at the college, and he really helped me. And I became an F math student to an A math student. And then he helped me learn math through his eyes. And it was just like a whole other thing. Like before I knew it, I was like going on to trigonometry. And I was like, holy shit, like, wow, I'm not bad at math. I don't suck at numbers. I'm not. So don't let your past hold you back. I mean, maybe that's something for you. Maybe my little story, just sharing well, something that small can actually affect your decisions that you make present day. Because I was still thinking I was bad at math and I was bad at numbers. I sucked at numbers, all these like, things I threw at myself, these labels and terminologies, until I was in my late 30s. Think about that. I think I was 38 until I had my aha moment that I wasn't stupid, which I thought I was. I wasn't bad at math, which I thought I was. I just didn't have the correct teachers or the people who knew how to, deal with me. They didn't understand. So, it could be that too. Maybe you're dyslexic, or you have learning disabilities, or you're autistic. I'm seeing all these things now. These celebrities are putting out things. They're like, oh, I just realized I'm autistic. And I'm like, why? It's like, in one way, I'm like, that's brave of them to come forward and talk about what's going on with them. But another end, I just don't know why we have to have this endless, like, look at me, I have a label. Look at me, I have a new label. It's like, we don't need labels. We do use words, and that's the way we communicate with each other. In this dimensional period, in this time, on earth, this is how we are connecting with each other. For those of us who aren't speaking telepathically to each other, although we do it every day, all the time, I'm talking telepathically to you right now. Did you get my message? If you got my message and you're brave, put it below. Tell me what your message was, because it might be different for all of you, but I was sending you all one universal message. But you know what I mean? So there's a lot going on. So it could be that maybe like whatever you're trying, I feel, because I'm feeling like the word translation keeps coming up, like maybe your art or something at work, like something that you're trying, an idea. That's why they want you to focus on your north node and your south node. South node more because it's actually on this card. Do you know what I'm saying? So research the south node and see what parts of your personality it works with. Look at the south node in your chart, get your birth chart, research it, see where it aligns in your house. I actually was thinking that I'm going to do that for myself. Like I'm going to literally make my chart for myself so that I can refer to it, because I've been having these really challenging times. And then, I've been avoiding astrology because I feel like I'm like, oh, I'm trying to focus on the present. But then I got this thing from spirit where they're like, yeah, but you can only focus on the present for so long. You know what I mean? Like you're in the present, yes, but then also there are parts of you that have to, think about like where you're going. Like think about like it, just putting it out there, right? But you don't want to keep going backwards. That's the whole point. So work with the north now, research north node and south node, but specifically work with the south node energy, okay? And how it aligns to this message. It's so important. It's so beautiful. I love spirit. I love the magic that spirit brings into things, and not being afraid of like, scrying and doing things that are witchy or weird or whatever. There is nothing wrong with you. You are so fucking magical and powerful. And spirit wants you to know how magical and powerful you are. All of you wizards and healers and deep down believers in magic, the Harry Potters. I had this great moment earlier today. I loved the Transformers when I was growing up as a kid, and I was just like having this moment with the Transformers and thinking about Bumblebee and just how Bumblebee communicates through music. And because he was always my favorite, and I didn't understand why. And then as I got older, 1127 and then 1128 angel numbers, and if you want to research, if you don't, no pressure. But I just started to realize like how important that was. Those could be birthdays too, by the way, for some of you, Sagittarius. That would be Sagittarius, or maybe that's who you're dealing with, or maybe that's your Sag side they want you to work with. Because also right now we're in the Piscean energy, and soon we'll be in the Aries energy, which is another fire sign like Sag. So maybe your form of communication is what's holding you back from doing what you want to do. But Bumblebee, I didn't realize that Bumblebee had a backstory, and he actually used to talk, but then he lost his voice. And so the only way he could communicate was through music. And autism is no joke. I've worked with so many autistic people, and definitely autistic children. And so I'm not going to tell somebody they're not autistic, whatever they feel like. I wasn't saying that to be a dick. I really wasn't. I'm just saying that like, I feel like autism is just another word for spiritual gifts, is what I'm getting to, is what I'm alluding to, is that I feel like we are all autistic, really. We all have different forms of communication that we don't know how to put out into the world. We don't, because autism is a form of lack of communication, not being able to communicate in a way that we were quote unquote raised to communicate with each other, you know I've worked with some families, and I'm not saying this to throw flowers at myself. This isn't about me, but I'm just telling you that in my experience, I've worked with autistic children who were, 8, 9, 10 years old, and were getting older and stronger, and they couldn't communicate. They were getting frustrated, and they're like, I know there's nothing wrong with them, but we don't know what to do. And I'm like, they're trying to tell you something. They're like, I feel like they're trying to tell me something. And so finally I had one of my clients reached out to me and said, can we do a one-on-one with my daughter? And I was like, yes, absolutely. And her daughter, she thought we were just, gonna talk, with spirit so she could take notes to help heal her daughter and work with her daughter or heal the relationship. And you know what ended up happening? Her daughter came to the reading. She's like, she's never done this before. She's like just sitting here right now. She's like, and I go, I know, I'm talking to her. Like I was literally talking to her. And I go, your daughter is one of the most gifted individuals I have ever met. So, there's all different layers of the spectrum of intelligence, awareness, consciousness. So don't rule anything or anyone out. And don't let your past hold you back. You are so beautiful and powerful and magical, and Spirit just wanted to remind you of that. So focus on that and refine the little things inside of you that make you glow. Until next time, take care of you. I love you. Blessed be. Aho.